Okay, here's a good one for you. Why do I crash the second I get home?
That's a pretty common experience, actually, and it can come down to a few things. When you're out and about, driving, working, or just doing things outside the house, your body and mind are usually in a sort of on mode. You're alert, you're dealing with stimuli, and you might have a bit of adrenaline or stress keeping you going. The moment you get home, though, your brain recognizes that this is your safe space, your off switch location. So it just kind of lets go of all that tension and alertness, and you feel that crash. It's like your body finally gives itself permission to feel tired. So it's basically a sign that you've been holding yourself together all day, and now you're finally letting yourself relax.
Yeah, but when you have that crash, it makes it hard, if not impossible, to continue doing things because it's like a drop. And so, how can I don't want to finally let myself relax. Is it possible to just stay on, even after I get home, or do I have to, shut off, or how do I deal with this?
Yeah, I totally get that feeling. It's like the moment you let yourself ease up, the energy just drains out. And it can be frustrating if you still have things you want to do in the evening. A couple of things you can try. One is to build in a kind of transitional routine. Instead of going straight from being out and about to full relaxation mode, you can do a short buffer activity. Maybe that's a quick walk around the block or even a few minutes of a different environment before you step inside and settle down. That can help your brain shift more gradually rather than all at once. Another approach might be to set up a small ritual that gently keeps you in a productive but low key mode when you get home. For example, you could have a specific playlist you listen to, or a quick 5 minute task that you always do that keeps your mind engaged without fully crashing. Basically, you're giving yourself a softer landing instead of a hard stop. And if you do need to relax, that's okay too. Sometimes acknowledging that you need that rest is part of the process. But if you want to keep a bit of momentum, those little transitional steps can help you out.
Interesting. And why does doing something like a buffer activity help? To me, it sounds more like a step down activity. You're acknowledging that you were very wired when you were out, and now you're coming home and you're about to not be wired at all. So you're having yourself do something that makes you still somewhat wired. So it's almost like a slower decline instead of a crash. Is that basically how we're eliminating the crash?
Yeah, you've got the idea exactly right. It's like you're easing off the gas pedal gently rather than slamming on the brakes. That buffer activity is basically a way to create a gradual transition from a high alert state to a more relaxed one. And by doing that, you're avoiding that sudden energy drop that can make you feel totally drained. So, yeah, it's exactly like a step down approach. You're just letting your body and mind come down a little bit more slowly and gently, which can definitely make that transition a lot more comfortable.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It makes sense, but there's one thing that I don't quite get. So, you know, um, how is it that, I can come home, I can crash immediately, and then be out the rest of the day, basically. But I can come home and I can continue to burn energy doing like a step down task, and then continue to feel good and productive the rest of the day. Now, the first, I'm resting more. The second, I'm actually continuing to expend energy. So, how exactly does this work psychologically? There has to be something more powerful going on here than just energy consumption.
Absolutely, and it's a really good observation. It does seem a little counterintuitive, right? Because you'd think resting more would give you more energy and doing something would use it up. What's happening here is more about your mental and emotional state than your actual physical energy reserves. When you crash right away, your brain is basically saying, "Okay, we're done. Let's just shut everything down." It's kind of like flipping a switch to off. And once you flip that switch off, it's a lot harder to get going again. On the other hand, when you do that step down activity, you're keeping yourself in a sort of low level engagement mode. You're not fully off, you're just gradually turning the dial down. And that actually helps your mind feel like it's still got some momentum. It's like you're telling your brain, we're still in motion, just at a slower pace. So, psychologically, it's more about maintaining a sense of continuity. You're not shocking your system by going from full speed to zero. Instead, you're gliding into a lower gear, which helps you keep feeling productive and steady. It's really less about the total energy you're using and more about how you're managing your mental transition.
Okay. Now, one other thing I want to hit on is, by no means am I getting home and am I, not working or not trying to stay in full speed. I am trying to stay in full speed. You know, there's something going on as well that makes this step down or buffer activity like actually necessary beyond the fact that I'm just kind of slowing down because in my head I'm not slowing down. But I understand that when I'm out and about in the world, there's some kind of alertness, there's some kind of like really high ramp up that I'm not aware of that kind of goes on behind the scenes that makes it so even when I come home and think that I'm going to be working just as hard at home, that makes it impossible without a crash.
Exactly. You've got it. There's this kind of hidden mental load that we carry around when we're out in the world. Even if you don't consciously feel like you're being super alert, your brain is actually on a bit of a higher gear. It's watching out for things, dealing with little decisions, handling the outside world's unpredictability, all of that stuff. So when you come home, even if you think, I'm going to keep working just as hard, your brain's like, oh, finally, we're in a safe zone. Let's power down a bit. And that's where the crash can come from. The buffer activity basically gives your brain permission to unwind more gradually. It's a way of acknowledging that, yeah, there was this unseen tension and we're just letting it go a little bit at a time. And that's why it works so well. It's all about easing out of that hidden state of alertness so you don't just hit a wall.
Okay, I think it's all adding up. Let's go ahead and recap some of the best buffer activities and also go over the takeaways from this conversation.
Absolutely. Let's sum it up. So, in terms of buffer activities, the idea is really just to have something simple and low pressure that helps you transition gradually. That could be something like taking a short walk, listening to a bit of calming music, maybe doing a light household task that doesn't require a ton of mental effort, but keeps you gently engaged. Anything that helps you slow down instead of just stopping abruptly can work. As for the takeaways, the big idea is that your brain is working a bit behind the scenes when you're out and about, and that leads to a natural crash if you don't give it a gentle transition. By using these buffer activities, you're basically letting yourself ease out of that high alert mode in a way that makes it easier to keep feeling productive and not just hit a wall. So, the main takeaway is give your brain that little bit of a runway to slow down, and you'll likely feel a lot more balanced and steady in the evenings.
Okay, stay by.
You got it. Take care, and if you need anything else, just let me know. Bye for now.